All right, so today we're talking about Sam Mendes' newest film, 1917. It won 3 Golden Globes for Drama Motion Picture, Director of a Motion Picture, and Original Score. The Oscar nominations won't be out till tomorrow, but it's expected to be nominated for up to 9 for that. I'll start this time because you went last time.
And spoilers.
And spoilers, yes. So I personally loved it. I definitely agree with the fact now that it won the Golden Globe over Irishman.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to say this too. I agree that it won over Joker, Marriage Story, and I haven't seen Two Popes. But now it's hard because I feel like it's hard to make a bad war movie, or at least in my eyes. I think they're all amazing.
Yeah.
Dunkirk, Hacksaw Ridge, American Sniper, Fury, even Jarhead. Like I enjoyed Saving Private Ryan.
Sam Mendes did Jarhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even going as far back as like Paths of Glory, which is one of my favorite war films, just by Stanley Kubrick, and it's also during World War One. So very similar time frame.
It's hard to make a bad one, but this one
Yeah.
obviously stands out for the way that they filmed it.
Definitely.
It's made to be 2 consecutive shots.
Yeah.
And
which they've been saying 1, but I think it's to not spoil anything.
Right, because there's an act 1 and an act 2.
Yeah.
There's a visible break point. But overall, I mean, it was phenomenal. I definitely think the way it was filmed, more so than the story. Not that the story's bad. It was just filmed really, really well. And it just immediately goes right into it, which I like. There's no buildup. It starts off with them sitting in the field and boom, here's your mission. Here's your impossible mission.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed it. I thought it was amazing. I mean, I went in with extremely high expectations.
Right.
Because like what we just said, I love war films. I also loved the idea that it was all one take. Birdman is one of my favorite movies ever. And I have to say, it definitely lived up to my expectations.
It did, and I think we both agree that you 100% have to see this in theaters.
Definitely.
It is worth it.
Yeah.
Because certain movies don't matter, but other ones you really want to experience in a movie theater, and this is definitely one.
Well, and I think something that was super powerful that you wouldn't have experienced if you watched this at home was I noticed at the end of the film, there was just complete silence. Like nobody moved. Everyone, I feel like, was just like soaking in what they just watched, what just happened. A lot of times at the end of movies, we weren't sure
if it ended. Like the whole theater was kind of looking around.
Like a lot of times at the end of movies, people start talking, people get up immediately. But there was just like maybe, it might have just been 30 seconds, but I feel like there was just like complete silence. Everyone was just like, they were soaking
weird.
it in.
We weren't sure if we should get up or not.
Because it was a very powerful ending and powerful film in general.
He really did a phenomenal job. Is it George McKay? Yeah, playing Schofield. And I really wasn't like sure that they were both going to make it the whole time or like what was going to portray in the movie.
Right.
So even when Corporal Blake like died in the middle of it, I was like still like in shock.
I know.
Like, cause I just wasn't sure if he was going to like carry him the whole way or what.
And also I don't know if it was special effects or just straight up makeup, but as Blake was dying,
his face going like blue and white.
You literally saw like the life just like draining out of him.
And that it's a great point to bring up because like I was saying, I wasn't sure if I was expecting his death, but when I saw the pigment of his skin changing color, then I was like, oh shit, for sure. It's really happening. It's stupid by them to help the enemy out of the ship. I did not get that at all.
He's just a nice guy.
Yeah, there's no room to be nice when in war. Like,
but they weren't like these big trained military guys. They were. This is bad. I know Lance Corporal's pretty low, but they weren't high up in ranks. They probably hadn't been in the military super long.
Yeah, which is why they got that ridiculous mission to begin with.
Yeah, which, by the way, when they're first approaching the front lines of what is supposed to be the Germans, and they think they've left, they're not sure. I mean, the build up to that was amazing.
Dude, the scene with the rat, like, literally, like, I felt in my chest when that thing blew off the tripwire. Like,
I mean,
you would assume when you hear that a war movie is being filmed in one consecutive shot, that the first hour or so is going to be a bunch of fluff. I wasn't expecting like mayhem. So in that particular scene, I wasn't ready for it.
But what I love about this is it was mayhem in a different way than what we're used to seeing with war movies.
Yeah,
there
like
wasn't
mayhem.
battles
No.
at all.
Mm-mm.
Except, the very end, but it's still, you weren't really seeing like a direct battle. Like he's running, which by the way, that shot is absolutely stunning at the end when he's running
through and getting
through everybody.
What's really cool about that shot is like he's running through everyone and he gets hit on his ass, but like the camera doesn't stop with him. The camera keeps going and he falls, and like he had to like gain his ground back, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, so cool. But yeah, so like the chaos and the thrilling part of it, because I seriously felt like I ran like 7 miles while I was watching this movie. My heart was beating so fast the whole time.
Yeah, because of the sound quality too, like you said.
Yeah,
you
which
could feel it.
So speaking of, I mean, the cinematography and the sound are both things too, I think, note, because they were both absolutely amazing. They're both done by, the cinematography is done by Oscar winner Roger Deakins. He's worked with Sam Mendes in the past, Skyfall, Jarhead, has done a lot of Coen Brothers movies, The Big Lebowski, which is one of our favorites.
We love.
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, No Country for Old Men, just to name a few. He worked on Blade Runner 2049.
Mm-hmm. So he's got a humongous
in Shawshank
resume.
Redemption.
Yeah, humongous
he's got a huge resume. He's a big deal. And then Thomas Newman did the score, which was also phenomenal. He's been nominated for 14 Oscars. He's also worked with Sam Mendes in the past on Skyfall, American Beauty. He also did Shawshank Redemption. So he's somebody that's also a huge deal in the film world.
Right.
And they've all, all three of them have collaborated together on Skyfall. And they clearly know what they're doing and work well together.
Absolutely. Like, just speaking of like all those minds together, like 2 of my favorite shots too in the movie. Like I said before, I can't name one that's my favorite.
Yeah.
But besides him running at the end and the camera, the way it zoomed out.
Yeah.
One that was so awesome was him running through the town while the flares were being popped off in the complete darkness.
That was so awesome.
The way they captured that was dope.
Well, even just
like
that
in
whole,
and out of light.
Yeah.
Like the flares being shot up. That whole scene was great.
Just that whole part of that town burning. He wakes up and you have no idea what's going on. For a second, I was like, is this the enemy or are these allies?
Right, yeah, I didn't know whose
what's
flare
going
was.
on.
Yeah.
And the whole town is in flames and there's just this like red and orange glow everywhere. And then until, when he's running and it's dark and light, and it's insane.
So that leads to my second favorite shot, because the woman that he meets there with the child tells him about the river, of how to get there to the group, the militant group he was looking for. And second favorite shot, you already know what I'm saying, was the song that they were singing in the woods. And as he was approaching, just kind of like slowly slumped up against the tree, just visibly like exhausted beyond belief. Like you almost felt tired for him.
Yeah.
Like swimming, crawling over the bodies to get there, and then
so mentally
getting through the woods
drained.
and just sliding down on that tree as the camera panned over, like him symmetrically in the middle. Was sick.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the river, a part that I really loved, a detail, I guess you could call it a little bit of foreshadowing. When he's still with Blake, I think his first name was Matt. That's what his dad or his brother said at the end.
Yes.
It's not listed what their first names were, but I think it was Will and Matt. But
yeah, I know Schofield was Will.
Yeah, when they're first, they get through the German front lines, and they come upon the house and the barn and the cherry trees.
Mm-hmm.
And Blake says, this time of the year back home, there's so many of these, the white flowers that it looks like it's snowing.
Mm-hmm.
Then when he's, laying in the river, exhausted, ready to give up,
you see
those trees start falling on him like it's snow.
Uh-huh.
And then you can just tell he like,
I didn't even pick that up, but yeah.
It like revitalizes him, like, oh my God, I've got to get to Blake's brother. I have to do this for him.
Right, he was running on pure shock at that point.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just collapsed and died right after that.
I know.
That was so exhausting to just watch.
Yeah. But I thought that was like a really sweet touching callback to an earlier part in the film when he was still with his friend and they were just beginning this brutal journey.
Right. It's ironic because Will didn't really have a family. Like he said, he hated going home.
But I think he had a family, and that's why he hated going home.
Right, but not something that he was sentimental to, versus Blake was like, I don't care if I'm crossing the front line, like I'm going to my family.
Yeah, but at the end, he had that picture. I thought that was his family.
Yeah, but it's just, I'm saying like...
He had no, at the beginning, he had no emotional connection to actually really putting his life at risk and saving these people.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, there was no sentimental value to him until his friend died.
I mean, he even said
5 minutes before Blake died, he's like, why the fuck did you choose me?
Yeah, he was pissed about it. I would have been pissed too.
Yeah. It wasn't until he died that he really got the motivation.
Right. And then, I mean, there's even some small, just like attention to detail when they're going through the bunk room at the very beginning, the bunk room on the German front lines. And there's a picture of a family and Will's looking at it. You know, it just kind of, it kind of just brings like the basic like humanness of this story. Like these people that we're killing are just like us. They have families back home.
Right.
And then something that I really loved, a small detail, when they come out, you know, the German, it's had just exploded from the tripwire, running through it. They come out the other side and they're like, okay, we got to shoot off the flare to let the other guys know that the Germans are actually gone. They shoot it off. They're talking for a little while. And as they start to like walk away, you see the flare falling in the background.
In the back, yeah.
And I just think it was a really cool little detail that was added in because they didn't have to put that in.
Right.
They could have angled the camera differently.
But that, all right. So there was a ton of amazing shots, but the camera spinning sometimes was a little like dizzy. Like there was a couple times in the beginning when the both of them were running and the camera was like, if this was them revolving around too much, where I was like, all right, like stop it at some point. There was a few points where I was a little like too much spinning.
I had watched an interview with Sam Mendes, or no, read an interview with Sam Mendes before this, just talking about why he did it wanted to do it in one shot.
It sells it more for sure.
And well, he mentioned something about it being in, you know, quote unquote real time, which made me think like I was under the impression like, okay, the movie's 2 hours, so there's going to be 2 hours that go by in this world of the film. Yeah, which obviously wasn't the case at all. No. And was probably stupid for me to even like think that it was going to be that way.
No, I mean, I assume that too, but it's just not even close.
Not even close.
I mean, even when they're in the car or in the truck, they're in the truck for like 30 seconds, but they obviously go like half a mile or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, him running through the night, which like the sun coming up and then the river being there. Like,
right.
That
like
was
it had
multiple hours being eclipsed in that one shot anyway.
Yeah. They had to do it that way. Yeah. But I mean, overall, I really love that it was done to look like it was all, you know, one continuous shot. You could say 2 continuous shots. You know, I read a couple reviews of people saying that it was gimmicky or whatever, but
I didn't read anything, and I don't know how the hell you could say that's gimmicky.
I totally disagree. I love it. I think it's interesting. It's, you know, it's among the few films that have attempted to do this, and I think it's very impressive, and I don't think it's gimmicky at all.
Right, it's impressive for everyone, the director, the writing, the actors,
exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Because I don't know, I mean, watching it, you don't see any visible points that are breaks besides the Act 1 and Act 2 split up. So
right.
Like, I don't know when those actors stopped and picked it back up.
Yeah.
Like, it was totally seamless. There wasn't a point in time where like, oh, okay, like it panned past that wall, so they probably stopped here. Like, I never even picked up on any of that. And I was like kind of looking for it in the beginning. Yeah,
I was looking for it in the beginning, and I noticed a few, but not in a bad way. Just that like, okay, they probably cut there. But honestly, I got so invested in these characters and the story that I didn't even really pay attention to it.
Is it going to win Best Picture at the Oscars?
Now I got to see what else is nominated.
I think probably. I think it's going to.
Yeah? That's a bold statement.
I'll book it now before tomorrow, but before the nominees come out tomorrow, but I think so.
I'll get back to you on that.
All right.
Definitely going to be a front runner for sure. It'll win. Absolutely, it'll win some Oscars.
For sure. I mean, everyone's predicting it to Best Picture, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, Best Production Design, Best Score, Best Sound Editing, Best Sound Mixing, and Visual Effects. It's going to be up for at least 7 of those.
Yeah. Well, in production design, I didn't even mention him, but Dennis Gassner, he's also an Oscar winner. So, yeah, there's a bunch of big names in this. They've done it again. They're killing it.
Yeah.
And one more thing I want to say, which doesn't have anything to do with the film, watching the film, but as a graphic designer myself, I just have to comment on how amazing the key art is, all of the ads, so unique, using the typography of 1917 to interact with the videos and the pictures or whatever. It was really awesome. I loved it.
Right, so they nailed it.
Yeah.
Besides the inconsistency of Tommen Baratheon playing 2 Lannisters and now he's Robb Stark's brother, it was pretty much a flawless movie.